afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
5 families displaced after Gregory Park massive fire. Road Safety Council warns of child deaths. And later in sports, under-20 reggae boys on second leg at CONCACAF Championship.
And a special welcome to our viewers on YouTube, TVJ International in the Cayman Islands, and online at onespotmedia.com. Now the details. At least 5 families have been dislocated after a massive fire destroyed 4 houses in Walker's Avenue, Gregory Park, St. Catherine. As you'll hear in this report from Kerry-Ann Simpson, the community has suffered tremendous loss over the last few years. Details in this report.
Tragedy in Gregory Park, Portmore, St. Catherine. It's not the first or second, but the third time in less than 5 years that 18 Walker's Avenue has been struck with misfortune. In 2023, at least 3 dozen people lost their homes in an arson attack. Last year, during the passage of Hurricane Melissa, a huge tree fell on several houses, causing severe damage. And sometime after 9 Tuesday night, tragedy struck again, this time at 19 Walker's Avenue. At least 4 houses were destroyed.
I hear somebody say fire, fire. So when I run towards my house, the fire already blaze, I can't go in. So I start bawl out for my son and the youth with it there. So when I look, I hear something goes up, boy. And never know say somebody did in the concrete house with a baby and a gentleman. So them try to force them out of the house. And so I couldn't get to go in to save nothing at all. So I lose everything.
I was over one of my friends. And I hear somebody bawl about fire. And my kids them the inside. And I rush come on, then pull the door and come out. When I come out, I see the blazing fire.
7 children are among those homeless. The victims say they were just starting to pick up the pieces from the damage in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa.
We straighten up back the house. Because last year, we straighten up it. Sunday the last, so fix the fence. Sunday is the last, so fix the fence. Because the kitchen, the side of the kitchen never fixed as yet neither. Because we'd have to just go and use it with the kitchen not fix back as yet.
Complete repair about 5 days ago.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days ago?
5 days ago, I complete paint up and say, yes, wash out paintbrush and say, I'm good here now.
And I rebuild, I work so hard to rebuild my house, and it was finally finished. Not even 2 months after Melissa, this is what happened.
It's alleged that the fire may have stemmed from a land dispute. The families are appealing for help. The police are investigating. Anthony Atkinson, TVJ News.
That report there again from Antonia Atkinson. Now, the National Water Commission, NWC, is reporting a major drop in revenues since the passage of Hurricane Melissa in October last year. Acting Vice President of Operations Herman Fagan made the revelation at this morning's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC. He says the losses are in the billions.
From a revenue standpoint, to date, we have incurred a drop in our revenue in just about $3 billion.
This is since from October 28th to the present.
That's correct.
So it would be about $1 billion a month.
Yes, on average. So what we found is that even though, as I said, it's an average, the month after will be more significant. But as some of the systems come back online, there have been improvement. The hotel sector would have been significantly impacted, and they are one of our primary customers. So that in itself would have a significant impact.
Additionally, Mr. Fagan pointed to other expenses which contributed to the revenue dip.
In addition to the works that we have to be doing, the security is an issue. the cost for generator and fuel maintenance, and there's a security component to that. That is very significant, and a number of buildings that we have to continue rehabilitation. The fencing of most of the properties, that is something that we're also looking at, which will come at a significant cost. But we are basically prioritizing getting up the systems up and running before we basically undertake most of those works.
Bank of Jamaica Governor Richard Balz is urging caution in upcoming wage talks with public sector unions. The unions have rejected the government's 2% offer now on the table. Mr. Balz warns that failing to agree on a reasonable package could trigger higher inflation and rising prices.
The government's temporary suspension of the fiscal rule will allow for fiscal deficits over the next 3 years. To the extent that these deficits support capital projects and other recovery spending, public sector demand could place pressure on the country's productive capacity, which may contribute to higher second-round price pressures. This risk underscores the need for a cautious approach to monetary policy.
Jamaica's current balance of payment is expected to deteriorate over the medium term. Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Richard Balz, says this outlook reflects the negative impact of the hurricane on the tourism sector. This, along with increased imports to support infrastructure rebuilding and relief supplies.
Deterioration in the current account, however, will be slowed by increased remittance inflows and insurance receipts. In this context, the bank anticipates that the current account balance will fall within a range of a deficit of 0.5% of GDP to a surplus of 0.5% of GDP for financial year 25-26, compared with a surplus of 3% of GDP recorded in financial year 24-25.
However, Jamaica's international reserves remain strong, standing at a historically high level of US $6.8 billion as at 19 of February 2026. This represents about 155.8% of the measure considered adequate. The National Road Safety Council has sounded the alarm over a disturbing rise in the number of children killed in motor vehicle crashes since the start of the year. According to data from the Island Traffic Authority, 7 children between ages 0 to 17 have died on the nation's roads since January 1. The NRSC says this surge in child road fatalities comes as the country records a 36% drop in overall road deaths. As at February 25, the data indicate that 39 people killed in motor vehicle crashes, 21 fewer than the 58 recorded in the same period last year. Vice Chairman of the NRSC, Dr. Lucien Jones, says the rise in child deaths is deeply troubling.
Year-old child. In this context, the unintentional injuries, the category in which road fatalities fall, according to the Ministry of Health, resulted in 7 child fatalities in the 0 to 17 age cohort since the start of the year is deeply concerning. 3 died in private motor car, which raises the possibility that they were not properly buckled up. 2 on a motorcycle, another huge problem. 1 pedestrian and a pedal cyclist.
Dr. Jones says the police reports point to excessive speeding and motorists failing to keep their lanes as the factors behind the majority of the fatalities.